Republican Party so much when most of your viewpoints are
So I wanted to be endorsed by the Republican Party because you have to start building a coalition from somewhere, right? You can't bring peace to a gang war from the outside, right? And so when I spoke to a lot of the Moreno Valley Democrats, and they said, why didn't you run as a Democrat? I was like, I trained as a Democrat in the last election cycle for 6, 7, 8 weeks, and then I decided I can't do this. And it was because I kept saying things, and they said, you can't say that. And one of the things that I said was that I had more in common with the people I was shooting at than the people that were shooting at me. And that bothers some people, and I understand that. But she said, you can't say that you have more in common with the Taliban than you do with Nancy Pelosi. I said, well, I've got more in common with the machine gunner shooting at me than the 100 millionaire in Congress. Is that fair? You know what I mean? And so I don't think that these people that were shooting at me would call themselves anything other than a patriot in a different word, in a different language. They're defending their home country, and we're the imperialists. And so ultimately, I ended up making an executive decision to run as an independent in the last election cycle, and I didn't even get ballot access. It's very difficult to change the system from the outside, right? And so infiltrating, and one of the reasons why I didn't get endorsed by the CAGOP is because I wasn't a Republican until a year and 10, 11 days ago, 12 days ago, and you have to be a Republican for a full year before they will endorse you. And I registered Republican to run for office. And I was involved in the Movement for a People's Party, trying to get 100,000 people registered to create a new party in the state of California. Like I said, I strongly considered running as a Democrat, but ultimately I ran as a Republican, and it becomes, this is where my autism comes in, and prepare to be triggered, and that's okay, but this is what we're gonna do, is we're gonna look for the truth, because I had a big long beard, and I had long hair, and I would wear New Balances with my suit because they were comfortable. And I would go into DC and people would be like, there's a homeless guy that found a suit by us. And I had to work towards my appearance in order to have them say, oh, this guy's articulate, he's intelligent, maybe he's got a point about veterans. And so I realized that I had to shave my face and cut my hair and become a palatable radical, so that people that are normally not willing to talk about universal health care will look at me and be like, there's a 39-year-old, middle-aged, Caucasian, white man who's talking about universal health care. And he's a combat veteran. They would not accept that from me in a different casing. And that's truth, right? And so I have to be a palatable radical for people that can't, go in and change the way that they talk, go in and change their skin color, shave, because there's so many of us that are struggling that people will just look at and then discount immediately. And when I was going through the VA, they said, you're the exact kind of person that we need in here advocating on behalf of veterans. I'm like, the exact kind of person? You don't even realize what you just said to me. So all of these people that are struggling, that are hurting, that are telling you that that the system is broken, that it's not serving anybody, because they're not saying it eloquently enough for you, or because they're not shiny enough for you, that they're not valid. And so it sent me down a real tailspin, and I really had to get right and say, okay, God designed me like this. 6'2", 250 pounds, now a middle-aged white dude. And it's easier to go to a Republican and say, hi, I'm David Serpa. I'm a Marine Corps combat veteran. I'm pro-health care for all. Trump said that we need to repeal and replace Obamacare. We got one vote shy. How come we're not doing it? It's time. I believe that we need to nationalize the oil, because why are we not paying an oil dividend to people? That's what they do in Alaska. And you start talking to people about these things in a way that they're not used to receiving it, and you start talking about running, oh, that's socialism. No, that's government being ran like a business. That's what you always talk about. Don't governments have product, right? And so if I go to a Republican and I tell them all these things, they say, okay, well, what are you registered? I'm registered as a Republican. Okay, bam, thank you so much. You're in the fight. Good stuff, brother. Whereas if I go to a Democrat and I say, hey, I'm pro universal health care, I want to nationalize the oil, I'm a combat veteran, I want to end the forever wars, and they say, what are you registered? Republican. I say, why are you registered as a Republican? But I can have that dialogue. Whereas, with the Republicans, I can't. They will immediately cut me out. So I do have some right-wing viewpoints. I'm very pro-2A. I'm very pro-Second Amendment. My sister moved to West Virginia. The teachers there have a right to carry in the classroom. And a lot of eyebrows are shooting up, but I'll tell you what, she doesn't worry about her children when they go to school. I can't say the same thing about my kids. So, you know, her classroom sizes are 13-1. My wife's a teacher. Classroom size for a teacher, she teaches 36-1. I mean, like, where, education's falling apart. We can talk about that all day long. But, so why did I run as a Republican? Because I look like a Republican.
Jeez.
Is that fair? That's fair, right? There's a little bit of truth. I look like a Republican. I walk around and I go, look at these angry eyebrows. That guy looks like a Republican.